Good day and welcome to today's edition of the Sport Rep Show. I'm your host, Limba Mupetami. Now, Namibian activist and former politician, as well as former mayor of City of Windhoek, Job Amopanta, wants to renovate rural facilities, sports facilities, that is. And of course, more of these coming up, but quickly, let's head over to the hit list. Now, starting off today's show, the director of rugby and head coach for the national rugby team, Alistair Coetzee, spoke recently about the preparations for the upcoming Rugby World Cup as well as the just concluded Mzansi series. We caught up with him and this is what he had to say.
We'll move on to the Mzansi wrap-up. Just the overall performance. I know, people look at results, and they determine success by the number of matches you won, or whether you've made the semi-final, the playoffs or not. So when I started out in January, we actually, and I'm not making excuses, please never make excuses, we were actually 2 months behind the South African franchises. They already have played matches amongst themselves down there because they have to do it. After Mzansi, they will determine who's number one to play promotion relegation for Currie Cup. That's why they were ahead. So we stuck to our process and trying to make to get our conditioning and our SNC up to speed. So by the time we started, we were still really underdone as a team. But in my opinion, I would say it was really a good season for club players coming together for the first year. We won 3 games, and there were 3 games that we lost within 5-6 points. I know St. Clemente Rhinos by 1 point, Leopards by 3 points, Border by 5 points. So it was really touch and go. We could have gone into the semi as well. So from that point of view, very positive about how the players responded, because they had to adapt to a new coach, new philosophy and things like that. And what I was pleased about is how coachable they were and the effort that they put in, notwithstanding the sacrifices and the distances that they travel. So for me, what we've learned, I think there were 3 things that stood out for me. Is the big thing is a coach, or any coaches. Chrysander needed time, to have more time with the team, to build a proper team. Obviously, we understood the challenges, logistical challenges. Basically, we only had 1 session with the team that was playing the weekend. So we had 1 proper session, and on certain days, on a Wednesday, for example, then the Grootfontein forwards would come, then we'd have the full pack. Then the Thursday, everyone was here, and we could have a full training session, and then the Friday captains. So 1 session, 1 split session, and a training and a captain's run. And in light of that, you compete against teams who have 2 sessions on a Monday, 2 sessions on a Tuesday, off on a Wednesday, 1 or 3 or 2 on a Thursday, then the captain. So they minimum 3 full sessions and a captain's. So we're looking to improve that for next year. I'm not asking for miracles, and we're not in a position yet to get the guys on a full-time basis, because they work. And financially, I don't think we're in a position yet to offer full-time contracts for the rugby players. But I think the franchise concept is where the union is working towards. Hopefully in future, that's a possibility.
Coach, I'm just a bit confused. The second training camp, will it be different players?
No.
The same group?
Yeah, there might just be a couple that's missing out. You know, it's going to be the bulk of the first camp. I know you want the squads. I'm going to give it later. Okay. Don't worry, just be patient. So, like I said, you know, we're working with 40 players. From that 40, maybe just 10 missing out. Then there's another 10 coming in. You understand what I'm saying? Look, all the local players are there. So only guys that can come in is maybe guys from the MLR, like your Clevens, like your Damien. They're finishing later, like your Jan Conradi, Rumala. So they will be coming in, those guys. Even less than 10.
You've travelled to the coast, you guys have been to the north now. Maybe just reasoning behind you guys not just having the camp here, but also moving it to Swakop, and what benefit does that bring to the team?
I think first of all, like I said, you know, rugby isn't just based in Namibia, in Windhoek. It is, you know, it's reaching out and to other regions as well. And I think the other important thing, what want players to understand is they got to feel proud of the country they represent. What is, you know, the pride of Namibia? That's where the desert and the ocean meets. It's things that they must experience too. You know. The other thing is it's just to expose our national players also to the people there and do a bit of marketing and get them to identify with the team as well. When it's just based in Windhoek, it's always they up there in Windhoek, they think that they're the union or Namibian rugby, and that's one of the big reasons as well. You know, to make sure we get everyone have that national pride and support the team during World Cup. We would have loved to go to all the regions, but financially my CEO will not be happy with that. I'm not the guy that'll set unrealistic targets and things like that. I mean, we're in a tough pool, but we don't play to lose a game. Doesn't matter who we play. We don't play to lose a game. There's a process that we follow, and I'm not going to say I'm targeting the last game, where you can win the first one, or you win the second one. So we're really planning to win. The challenge at the World Cup for any Namibian side is in the tight five. That's where the big challenge is. So that's why we've got to cast the net as wide as possible to get tight forwards in, props, enough props. So I would like to see how, Aaron Achenbach goes. Looking forward to that.
While we're still on the hit list, Namibian activist, politician and former mayor of City of Windhoek, Job Amupanda, is looking for a platform to raise money for the renovation of rural sports facilities. The former mayor took to social media to share that he was last in the ring 2 years ago at the MTC Knockout GBV boxing event, and this thus looking for an opponent to fight him. Only this time, the fight will be to raise money for sports facilities in the country. Now, leg 5 of the Namibian National Motocross Championships will be hotly contested in 10 classes this coming Saturday at the Kalina MX Park in Brakwater, a couple of kilometers north of Windhoek. The defending 2022 Open Class champion, Don Ray Botha, will not race due to work responsibilities. Botha is currently with 81 points, 10 points ahead of Ziki Peck in the first place as King of the Dead, with Ewa Stenegal as in third place, that is. We have some action footage which was captured during leg 3 of the Namibian National Motocross Championships at the Kalina in Brakwater. Check this out.
And that will be Mark Sterner taking the checkered flag in this heat, winning this heat with a mile in the open class in the third leg of the National MX Championships here at Galena. Fourth, our national champion, Don Ray Belter, number 1, coming in fourth.
Namibian boxer Philippus Nekutumbua is disappointed by his loss against John Riel Casemiro. The two fought a closely contested battle in the Philippines in May for the WBO Global Superweight Bantamweight title. Nekutumbua believes that despite the knockdown in the 6th round, he still believes he did more than enough to force a win, or at worst a draw, given his dominant performance throughout the fight. I want a rematch against Casemiro, and this time I will make sure that I finish him off within distance. I dominated 70% of the fight and was shocked and disappointed with the loss, he said. That, of course, ends today's hit list. Right after the break, we head into the sharpshooter segment of today's show. With the dreams of qualifying for the Africa Cup of Nations hanging on the line, Burundi silenced Namibia by defeating them 3-2 in Group C yesterday, thus creating a chance for themselves by putting one foot in next year's competition. The 3-2 narrow defeat of Namibia concludes that Namibia has now 5 points. Cameroon and Burundi both now have 4 points each, respectively. Cameroon sit in second place because of their superior head-to-head against Burundi. Now, in order for Namibia to survive and qualify for AFCON, a win should surface between Cameroon and Burundi in their last group match on the 4th of September. If the two sides draw with a scoreline above 4-4 or more, Namibia will then, of course, be kicked out of the competition. We have this video clip of Namibia's head coach Collin Benjamin speaking after yesterday's match. Have a look at this.
Some time for the tactical opinion for the point of view after 90 minutes.
Okay, first of all, I congratulate Burundi. They are a good team, they took their chances. That's exactly what we lacked. So we lost this match in the first 15 minutes of the game. Not concentrated, not taking responsibility, and not in these decisive moments being courageous to make the right decisions. So we let them get those goals, very easy goals. And at this level, if you allow a team to get those easy goals, you will be punished, and that's what Burundi did. But I think for us to come back before, after the 3-1 and the 3-2 towards the end, I think still it was a good fight for my team. But these are mistakes that we made, and we will go back to the training field and we will try and rectify that.
Now Namibia have 5 points, Cameroon have 4 points, Burundi have 4 points. Do you see the chance to qualify?
The chance was in our own hands. Now the chance is not in our own hands. We have 5 points, Burundi 4 and Cameroon 4. The two of them have to play against each other. So our fate is not in our own hands. So we will see the outcome of that, and we don't have any influence on that. So we had our chance, we lost it, and we will see what's going to happen in the next match. But I wish both teams all the best of luck. I think they are very good teams, and may the best team win and go to the Nations Cup.
Any questions?
We apologize for that poor sound quality video, but the hope is that Namibia does manage to qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations for next year, Ivory Coast. Now, up next, we have the Game Changers segment right after the break. The 2023 edition of the Paratus Namibian Cycle Classic was launched in the capital today. Viewed as Namibia's premier family fun-filled outdoor recreational event, the Cycle Classic is a community service and fundraising event of the Rotary Club Windhoek. Axel Tyson, the president of the Namibia Cycling Federation, spoke at the launch. Listen to what he had to say.
Joined by Axel Tyson, president of the Cycling Federation. Axel, quickly tell us, how important is it, do you think, for us to have events like this launch?
This Paratus Namibian Cycle Classic is one of the oldest cycling events which we've had. It started about 24 years ago as a pure road cycling event. Then mountain biking came on board. Now what we've heard just now is that they've got a combination of ride and run as well. So it is hugely important because it's a community event. It doesn't necessarily be about the winner, although the winner will get the first prize and the big trophy and the big wonderful trophy which the people will race for. But it's a community event. It's important to get as many bicycle or cyclist commuters, families onto the bicycle on that morning and share in the fun, because ultimately we as a cycling federation will have a very strong strategy in the next year or two to promote road cycling safety in Namibia, and also that includes the pedestrians and the runners in the mornings that share the roads. So we want to create an enabling environment, to have a safe environment for everybody to cycle and to enjoy this beautiful sport of ours, because we've got this beautiful weather, we've got the community, we are a small nation, and if everybody is respectful of each other, this is what we want to do, generate a healthy lifestyle.
Okay, well, you see, the event has been around since 1999. How important is it to have corporates like Paratus jump on board to make sure that this event stay relevant?
Any sport will be nowhere without sponsors. So we as cycling in the cycling fraternity are very grateful for the big sponsors which we do get, because without sponsors, an event will be very difficult to organize. And what we've heard this morning as well is the Rotary Club takes these resources, these funds, and invest them in community projects in schools in Karatura and communities in the south and even the north, what Mr. Rainer Ritter has alluded to. So it's hugely important that we share the resources and bring everybody everybody together, and the entry fees of the cyclists again go into the community development. It's an all-enabling environment, and it's so critical that we as a nation stand together.
Okay, thank you very much, Axel.
We now head into our special rugby segment, Le Jol. This is where we give you latest news on the fast approaching World Cup right after this break.
The next days are not a measurement of time, but the distance from here to the finish line. For the race you are running, for your kids, your career, your health, your future. Not away, but towards it. While the voice in your head reminds you it won't be easy. But by simply swinging your feet towards the floor, you've taken the first step. Grow for it with Stamino Grow. 5-in-1 supplement available at all leading pharmacies.
It takes heart and all the soul. A head stuck in the game. It takes every bone in your body, all the blood in your veins. And then more blood, and more sweat, more tears, all your hopes and your dreams. It takes conquering fears. It's late nights and weekends. 6 to 6s, 9 to 5s. It takes sacrifice and suffering every moment of our lives. It takes kick after kick, being kicked when you're down. It takes fighting for hours for inches of ground. It takes every last line out, every last second spent. It takes absolute devotion. It takes 100%.
Now, talking about Rugby World Cup news, South African captain Siya Kolisi has given an update on his fitness and is confident he would feature in at least one Rugby World Cup warm-up game. The Springboks flanger recently underwent knee surgery and is now recovering in a race against time to be fit for the tournament, which kicks off in September. Early speculation suggested that Kolisi was a major doubt to make the Rugby World Cup, but those fears have eased as the weeks have passed by. Now, on Tuesday, he spoke to the media as his Springbok teammates build towards their opening rugby championship match against Australia on the 8th of July. Kolisi had the operation on his knee at the end of April, and he has been doing intense rehabilitation since in the hope of making the Rugby World Cup. Now, of course, that ends today's Rugby World Cup news. And of course, now we head over to Ari Hogard, and that, of course, is with in-depth international sports news. And that will then end today's show. But we will be back again tomorrow, same place, same time.